I mean, I know I'm overstating the obvious when I say this, but, I mean, these two guys, to do what they did tonight is just, it's, you know, what older kids are supposed to do. These are two freshmen, one hitting, one of the best offensive teams in the country, if not the best offensive team in the country, and no walks, just attacking hitters all night long. And in Berg's first start of the year, to do what he did, and then Otter, as we call him, come in and give us 4 innings after that and go 3-0 on Gabe Holt to lead off the ninth and come back and get him out. Words can't express how proud I am of these guys. You're getting ready to see some fiery personalities coming out of these guys here in just a second. But what they lack in volume when they speak, you know, they make up for it with the way they pitch. They've been doing this really all year long, and you know, keep telling these guys in a tournament situation like this, you never know when you're going to be needed, and they were needed in maybe the biggest game in the history of our program, and just stepped up and just did yeoman's work.
Okay, questions for our student athletes?
What was working for each of you guys?
Well, when I got out there, I just wanted to command my fastball to start out, and then when I got ahead on batters, I would work in my curveball, and I mainly just threw fastballs and curveballs today.
Yeah, and really the same for me. I just command the fastball early, and then after that, just attack the zone with off speed as well, mix it up, second, third time through the lineup, just keep them off balance.
When did you find out you were going to be starting this game?
On the bus on the way here.
So you didn't have much time to
No, not really,
think
no.
about that? Do you have, what was the nerves or butterflies like, or were there any?
I mean, there was, but after that first inning, came out there strong, it just kind of went away. It just felt like a normal game after that.
Their coach said you were working up in the zone and they couldn't lay off. Was that by design, or were you just pumped up, or what?
Somewhat by design, somewhat kind of misses, both here and there. But yeah, my bullpens usually consist of spots in and out and up and down. So.
When was your last start? Playoff last year as a high school guy, or what?
Yeah, playoff start as a high school. Yeah.
Same atmosphere?
No, nowhere close.
Ryan, you got some family traveling here with you?
I do not. They were thinking about coming out, but they ended up not coming. So.
When you pitched against Tech last time, back in April, had 3 scoreless innings, did that give you any sort of confidence that you had some familiarity with these guys?
I mean, yeah. Honestly, just any outing when you go scoreless like that, it's just always good to know that in the back of the mind that you can pitch against anybody, you know.
I think you topped out at 50 pitches in one of your relief appearances earlier. You got in the 70s tonight. It looked like the velocity came down just a tad at the end. Were you sort of fighting it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What did the catch for Brandon White do to him? Do for you to him the 5th?
That was just a blessing, honestly. Missed my spot, hit a ball hard, it just came out of nowhere. It's amazing.
Since he made so many defensive plays the other night.
Yeah.
Did you think he was going to make that one? Or?
Honestly, no, I didn't. He literally came out of nowhere. It's crazy.
What's your mindset going into that start? Because you know you're not going to be able to go 9 probably, so
Yeah.
you're just trying to keep your team in it, or what?
It was just go out there, give them a chance to win, you know, inning by inning, pitch by pitch.
And how about you? I mean, same thing. You topped your high pitch count for the season and were able to keep Kessler from having to come in the 9th. What did your outing feel like?
Well, my goal is just to keep going out there and putting up zeros and giving our team a chance.
Any nerves when you had the arrow behind you and they got a guy in scoring position? That's the only guy to reach against you.
Not really. I mean, it was a challenge, but I just kept having to execute my pitches the same as if no one was on.
Okay, guys, we'll let you go, and we'll visit with the coach here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow. Great game tonight.
Thank you.
Coach, if you put stars on the caps for all the great defensive plays that you make? How many stars would Brandon White have this year?
I mean, I've been telling people for 3 years he's the best center fielder I've ever coached, and now everybody's starting to see it. You know, he just changes the game, you know. It's hard to do that, but I think Josh Young does it for them. He's changed their season defensively. Shea Langeliers does it for Baylor. He changes games defensively, and Brandon White does it for us. It's just the difference when Brandon does it. Every time he makes a catch, he saves runs, you know. Every time Langeliers throws a guy out, he saves a base. But the catches Brandon makes are real game changers. It takes runs off the board every time he does that. And if he doesn't catch that ball today, it's probably a 2-run double, you know, and the whole game's different. And just amazing to watch that guy play.
Coach, is there a reason you didn't let him know until you were on the buzz? Did you not want him to think about it too much? Or?
Yeah, for obvious reasons. You know, it's a freshman in that situation. If you tell him too early, he's probably not going to be able to sleep when we get back to the hotel and get off his feet, and he's probably going to call his family, and they probably would have took a red eye here, you know, that type thing. But yeah, didn't want him to know until it was time to get going. And you know, his numbers this year, he's had one bad outing. You know, Baylor beat him around pretty good opening conference weekend. And if it was like, you know, when you have math class, you know, your professor lets you drop your lowest test score. If he would take the Baylor game out of his stat line, his numbers would be really good. So, you know, he's been good. He's done that almost every time out except for one. So, what a bright future we have with guys like that in our program that can do that in that situation. It just speaks volumes about the future of Mountaineer baseball.
Coach, you often say that you don't have to tell these guys to do anything or act a certain way, but do you have to handle that conversation with Berger any differently?
Not really. I mean, his mentality is such, he doesn't get rattled too much, and he's going to, like he said, he was going to be nervous when he first started, but went out there and struck a couple guys out in the first inning. I think that really helped him, and he's good, man. We were watching Kyle Hill pitch from Baylor yesterday, and he hasn't given up a run this year, the whole season. And I told Berger, I was sitting beside him, I said, this guy is really similar to you. Same fastball, same breaking ball. So you get a chance to be special here. And his mentality is such that he's just low maintenance, hard worker, great student, does everything that's asked of him, and, you know, very comfortable flipping him the ball.
At the risk of putting the cart a little bit before the horse, and you alluded to this earlier in the week, but what would hosting a regional next weekend mean for West Virginia baseball?
I mean, words can't even tell you. You know, if you're not from Morgantown, you don't know this, but we've had baseball at WVU for 130 years, something like that, give or take a few, and have never hosted a regional. And hosting a regional changes the face of your entire program. You know, we'll put 4,000 or 5,000 people in our stadium, and they'll be chanting and screaming, "Let's go Mountaineers!" and that would be one of the best atmospheres in all of college baseball. And you know, for the future too. You know, you bring a lot of fans to a regional that haven't seen you play before. You know, and they get a taste of it, and they'll be back the next year, and it just feeds off of itself. And aside from that, if you host a regional, you get to play a 4 seed instead of a 3 seed. That's the thing that gets overlooked a little bit, you know. And not saying that the 4 seeds can't beat you, but that sure helps too, you know. So, man, I've been running the numbers in my mind and looking at my cell phone and watching the other scores, and I got to believe that we're one of the best 16 teams in the country right now, the way we're playing. I think that'd be a shame if they didn't put a regional in Morgantown.
Okay,
Sorry. Tadlock said that Otter's breaking stuff was really, you know, diving away from lefties and into righties, and they were having trouble after what they saw out of Berger to start. Can you talk about his 4 innings of just being spotless almost?
Yeah, those two guys are polar opposites as far as their stuff goes. Bergert has a straight fastball with a high spin rate that pitches up in the zone, and Ottinger's the exact opposite. He cuts his fastball and keeps it down in the zone, so that's a tough transition for a hitter to face Bergert twice and then Ottinger twice. He just has a natural cut to his fastball, Ottinger does. And one day I was working with him in the bullpen and was working on a different curveball grip. And when he threw a fastball, after that, it wasn't cutting anymore. So I immediately stopped coaching him. I'm not dumb enough to coach a guy who has a natural cut on his fastball. So it's just a tough pitch to hit. And you saw that tonight. He's making the best hitters in the country swing and miss.
And if Brandon doesn't go 3 for 3, he might still be playing out there. I mean, what he do well as far as staying back and taking balls the other way?
He talk about his defense all the time, but he quietly gets on base a lot, and he's got, 22, 23 stolen bases, something like that. He got a big one tonight and went to third on the throw and scored on I think Marcus's double play ball. But guy's a game changer, man. He's a game changer. He's worth the price of admission if you want to see highlight reel plays.
I think TJ lost a can of corn pop up that he ran all the way from center to sort of save him on.
Yeah, there's always a point in these evening games where at dusk, it's hard to see the ball, and it doesn't matter if the corner guys don't see it. Brandon just run over there and catch it.
Coach, what does the efficiency of your 2 pitchers do for you guys tomorrow? And have you determined who's going to be the first to get the ball tomorrow?
No, I have in my mind who I think might get it, but if we have to use 4 or 5 pitchers in this game, then who knows what could happen tomorrow. The game before us today, Oklahoma State runs through 4 or 5 guys, and you look out there and their second baseman's warming up, getting ready to come in and pitch. You get in these environments, that has to happen. So we've still got some guys, that haven't thrown yet, that have good arms, that are chomping at the bit. So we're not going to fall into that situation where we're going to have to run a position player out there. So, but I'll get together with my coaches and probably tell the guy who gets the ball sometime tomorrow around 12:15.